relevance to what I might do with my future career and to my course unit. Things like essays or research reports would be very common and very likely in what my role would be.
If I can feel that it's got a relevant application to my hopeful destination in the workforce, I retain it a lot better because I can somehow apply it to an everyday scenario.
Your relatability, being able to see how the assessment relates to your future career, especially because the staff that are teaching the units are clinical staff. So a big thing would be them just saying, okay guys, this is the assessment and this is how it relates to what you'll be doing when you graduate, because they have that knowledge and that's something that they don't really tell us.
We did this exercise once. It was like a panel discussion almost, but we assumed the roles of different departments and stuff. And yeah, it genuinely gave you a good insight into sort of negotiation and dealing with people, and I really felt like that. And I have in my recent time doing work experience found a relevant application for that.
The assignments that we do are very relevant and mirror what we're going to be doing in the workforce. I'm a computer science student, so I do a lot of programming tasks. So that mirrors probably what we're going to do in the workforce. The other half, which is like the tests and the exams, not so much, because I don't really see any time where I would have to write out computer code on a piece of paper.
As later on in the workforce, like a lot of the research assignments, and that's especially what you'll be doing in the workplace, a lot of data analysis and so on. But the tests, not so much.
A 3-hour exam isn't exactly what I'm going to be assigned working at my job.
When I'm writing an essay or something of the sort, I love to have some sort of scope to sort of produce my own sort of understandings, to come to my own conclusions rather than have such a narrow focus. So I mean, whether that be choosing my own questions or being left to produce a lot more independent research. I think I quite enjoy that, and I think that makes a better assessment and really gives student independence and license to come up with their own ideas.
More opportunity to choose what sort of question you can do, because a lot of our things are essays. So having the option to kind of decide which one you find most interesting. It would be good if you could choose one of, say, 3 choices, and then you're really passionate about that one instead of just kind of going, oh, I have to do this assignment, it's not really interesting to me. At least that way you can really take ownership of it.
The assessments should assist in directing the students' learning of the unit materials. For instance, one time I found that by doing an assignment, at the same time I was studying for the test that I had coming up as well, because the assignment directed my learning, that helped me learn the material of the unit.
The reports that we did for psychology really built on the theory, and I found that when it came to exams I was much more familiar with those topics that were actually covered in the assignments. So I think that's really good to actually cement the information in your head as opposed to memorising it for a test and then forgetting it 20 minutes later.
We spend, say, the first year learning a whole range of different programming languages, and then subsequent years we usually have a choice. We get a lot of choice in the language and how we implement our assignment.
Each assessment builds into the next for each successive units, because especially in my economics units, a lot of assessments they feel like something similar to last semester, but still a lot more expanded or focused on a particular area, and that was really good. I can already sort of see the assessment progression as I'm getting deeper and deeper into my major.
With my common psychology units between intro to psych and brain and behaviour, there was definitely some connection just there. And I found that really good to be able to take stuff that I've learned from one unit and apply it in another. So I found that particularly useful.
I feel, I mean, you don't really apply yourself as much if you feel like, that's it, it's all over, so you more or less are just pushing yourself to pass rather than actually further, so studied at a higher level, for instance, or expand upon what you've already done. And I feel as if you are constantly expanding upon, you feel as if you're building towards your competency in your desired career destination. That creates a sense of relevance and engagement.
Clarity, so really obvious what the question's asking, and you can instantly think of what you're going to write for it. And maybe if they're coded more like exam questions because they're much more clearly worded. Or feeling that you can easily communicate to staff members.
I'd say clarity of instructions, knowing what's expected of you, how to get an HD. Sometimes there's not always enough specifics, I'd say. Being able to contact your lecturers, or at least having the discussion boards open on Blackboard, can be quite helpful.
Clarity, just really structured questions. Being able to access the staff to ask them questions about the assignment would be a big point.
Getting feedback is generally one of the greatest things that you can get as a student. I get a lecturer who will tell you what was wrong with your assessment, but it's really good just as well to tell them what they got right and what they need to do in future to improve on their mark.
One assessment where I got feedback with the comments that he left on the work, he would give back the comments in the context of the work. Immediately see what he was commenting on without reading through, you know, thousands of different lines. So that way it makes it easier for me as a student to digest the feedback and use that to change what I'm doing.
Giving feedback as soon as possible so that the students really can develop and learn from that experience. For us, because we do a lot of practical assessments and the feedback is given basically instantaneously, and that's really great because you can go, okay, well I have to work on that when I go out on placement. It's not, you know, 8 weeks later when you've done all your assessments and it's not really relevant and you're just going into the exam not really knowing where you can improve.
One of the humanities units I did last semester with the final essay that did the feedback she sent out was really good because she like quoted parts of my essay and said, okay, well, this is what you could improve on, or this was really good, and that was really good because it was personalised feedback and it's not just the normal circling stuff on the rubric. Yeah, it was much better.
Just giving you a nice point to sort of expand upon what you've learnt and how you've conducted yourself in the past assessments, and hopefully produce something better in the further going.